You're busy, you've got a decent practice, but nobody wants to be decent. You want to be great, and you want to have a great practice. So how did the most productive, profitable dentist in the nation balance real life, work, and profits, and somehow make it all seem fun? Well, it comes down to simple, everyday practices. So grab a lunch, join us as we chat with top clinicians and influencers to discover their formula for uncommon success. Are you ready? Then it's time to explore everyday practices.
Hi, everybody. Welcome to Everyday Practices. This is your host, Reagan Robertson. I'm the president and CMO of Productive Dentist Academy. Dr. Chadwick Johnson, my fearless companion and co-host, is currently prepping a crown. So I'm sure many of you, most of you, if not all of you, can relate to that right now. So I've given him a pass for today. And all is well because I have a guest that is extremely special to me. I am honored. I can't believe she's coming on our little podcast. So I'm humbled. I met this woman through Lady Boss, which is a really empowered big weight loss group for women. And I think it's like 250,000 members strong. It's ridiculous. And it's all about lifting each other up, but also taking accountability of your future and your destiny. So we reached out to Stacey Martino and she agreed to be interviewed today. So welcome, Stacey.
Oh, I'm so glad to be here. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, absolutely. If you don't mind, I'd love to just read your bio so everybody in the dental world gets a clear picture of why I asked Miss Stacey Martino to join us.
Sure.
Stacey and her husband, Paul Martino, have proven this. Oh, guys, you guys are just going to love this. They have proven that it only takes one partner to transform a relationship, any relationship. Are you guys listening? The Martinos are on a mission to empower people to get the unshakable love and unleashed passion they want in their relationship, even if their partner refuses to change. Stacey and Paul are the creators of relationship development and their 8-step relationship transformation system. Today, through their strategic coaching, online programs, and sold-out live events, Stacey and Paul have helped thousands of marriages around the world by only working with one spouse. I wish I could underline that. Guys, skip back 15 seconds. By only working with one spouse. How is that possible? I'm going to ask you, Stacey. Well, the divorce rate is averaging 50 to 70%, which is true, and it's really sad right now. And couples work resulting in about 80% divorce rate. The Martinos Relationship U program results in a 1% divorce rate and a 99% success rate over the last 6 years. I don't know about you listening, but for me, thinking about how many things could be solved if we could work through the friction that we have as opposed to just replacing our relationships, I think I'd be a much happier person. And I think most people listening would be too. Those amazing results are unheard of, and it's because the Martinos have cracked the code on the relationship with their relationship development methodology. Stacey and Paul have created hundreds of proven tools to empower real people to reclaim their happiness and create a transformation, even in relationships that looked hopeless. The Martinos are changing the way relationships are done. Whoa, what an earful, what a mouthful. That's a lot for, I know we have one podcast to have. I'm blown away, Stacey, at this rate. The divorce rate in dentistry, I think, is probably even a little bit higher. We understand how stressful it is for dentists, and I didn't realize before asking you to come on that you have a passion for dentistry also in helping dentists in their community. Can you talk to us a little bit about this divorce rate and that one person can really transform a relationship? I mean, because I go right into that combat mode of really, it takes two to tango. So what's this about, Stacey?
So we've actually all been brainwashed for a really long time to think that it takes two, right? Which is why we push so hard, whether it's in your marriage or with your team or even with your clients, we push so hard. If I could just get you to, if you would just see it this way, and we push, but that's all about control. And that's all that's been modeled to us forever and ever beyond that is, if I could just get them to, if I could just get this to go my way, then I could be happy. And what Paul and I do, which is the flip opposite of that, is we empower people to create transformation through inspiration. I shift how I'm showing up with you, And in response, you shift back. And this is actually how human dynamics work. And we already know this. We're just putting a label on it. So the old model, the old broken way of doing relationships, whether in your practice or in your household, is where we push and try to control people. And you and I both know, and everybody listening already knows, people don't like to be controlled. And we know that because when people try to do that to us, we don't like it.
Right.
We don't.
No, of course not.
And so what do? We either push back or we check out, right? How many times is your parent going to call you and tell you, I need you to do this? Why aren't you doing this? I need it. And eventually you're like, look, either I'm not, or I'm ghosting you and you're not going to hear from me. All of a sudden I don't pick up my phone. Like, we don't like to be pushed or controlled. We love to give. We love to come to things of our own free will, but we don't like to be pushed, controlled, manipulated, shamed, guilted. Like, none of those things actually inspire the best of us to come forward. However, all of us have had the experience of showing up in a situation where maybe we were snippy and the person didn't really deserve it, but we kind of had a bad day, right? Or something was really stressful in email, and at the same time, one of our kids came up to us and we snapped at them about where they should be and what they should be doing, right? And it really wasn't about them, but we brought that energy.
In other words, this morning with my daughter happened. Immediately.
We've all done that.
Yep.
And all that is us getting triggered, and then we're bringing that to someone and it's impacting our relationship with them. But the truth is, it's always a choice. All that happened was we ran to the end of our skill set as to how to navigate that moment without being triggered, as to how to navigate that moment without resorting to shame or blame or trying to control or trying to bribe. If you just do this, like, just don't freak out on the aisle in Walmart and I'll get you every game in the aisle, right? Like,
right.
we were, because we don't know what to do. When we run to the end of our skill set, we enter what we call the downward spiral, which is we're triggered, we're bringing that to our relationship. And what Paul and I have done is we've created hundreds and hundreds of tools, like, not theory, not talking about your feelings garbage, real tools that work for real regular people with kids and work and busy stuff and parents and all of the things, and the tools that you can reach for in a moment to navigate it without getting triggered, to be able to bring compassion to a moment, not just because you're having good behavior or because you think that's what you should do, but because you actually feel that way, because you've resolved whatever control or whatever needs you had in that moment. You can really come to it from an authentic way with a higher level skill set to navigate the moment. That's what it's about. All of this, like, you should have good behavior, you should be nice, you should think of other people. You know what? That only lasts so long. I don't know about you, but I can't have good behavior for very long. But when it's authentic for me, when I truly feel that, because I've been given a tool for how to navigate any conversation without fighting, I'll follow that every single time. Yes, I'd like that tool very much. How to be able to inspire my kids without shaming or controlling or being the police all day. I would love those tools. Yes, thank you very much. I'll follow that all day. Like, we just were never given these tools. And when we have them, we can actually navigate a lot more situations in an elevated way that not only gives us a better experience of life, but inspires everyone around us to respond to us in the way that we really want. Because the truth is, as much as we don't love the way the spouse is reacting and the way the client and the team member and all the drama, they're not really acting towards us in a way we don't like. The truth is, we don't see it, but they're actually reacting to what we just put out there. We are triggering the crap out of people all day long. We don't know it and we don't see it. And then we say, I don't like the way you're talking to me. Don't use that tone, or you can't be like that, or don't bring that drama here. They're not acting. They are reacting to us because we ran to the end of our skill set because life is so busy and nobody gave us the tools to do this well. But that's what we do. We bring tools to people, and you don't need the other person to cooperate. You just implement these tools and people respond to you differently. That's how we have a 1% divorce rate. That's how we only work with one spouse, never even met the other person, don't need to. That's how we empower one person to become the leader in their marriage, in their parenting, in their business, and honestly, in their community.
Well, there was a couple of things that I wanted to kind of highlight and underscore here, because I've heard it many times, and dental businesses are no different than other businesses, where they'll say, if I just had a different team, everything would be better. Or if I could just get rid of this one problem, everything would be better. And then the truth is that problem or that person or that whatever goes away, and it tends to just come back, and right again, you're in the same pattern again. Our dentists, our productive dentists, the ones that are the most successful that we see, they tend to say 10 out of 10, it's because of my team. I have a rock star team. But these doctors aren't geniuses that somehow have a hugely different skill set. But I think what you're saying here is they have tools, perhaps, in how they show up and how they see people. What did you say a little bit back there? You said that tools to navigate situations, any situation. And I remember hearing you once say too, it was navigating a situation not just for the benefit of my own good, but taking into consideration the goodness of the other person I'm engaged with and the goodness of the overall outcome. Can you talk to me about that? Because I would love to be able to give our listeners a tool that they could put in their toolbox, how to show up to every conversation. They're triggered, which for me, when I'm triggered, I'm go time, right? I don't have time to sit and stop and think about things. How do we do this?
Okay, so I'm going to give you the first tool, and it's actually going to handle the team conversation that you just had with me. Because for as many people as say, like, everything would be so much smoother at the office if I could just get the right team, is as many people will say, like, maybe I picked the wrong partner, because if I could just replace them, this might be smoother. And then what you have is the same situation at home that you have at work is 6 months later, you have same crap, new face. Because the truth is, we never learn the dynamics for how to relate to people who are different than us, people who are wired different than us, people who think differently than us. And as leaders, that's our personal responsibility. And so the first tool is understanding what blame really is. See, we've all been really conditioned ever since you were a little kid and the lamp went over and mom turned around and said, "Who did that?" And everybody was like, "Not me, not it. It was them," right? Or the teacher turned around and said, "Who said that?" Everybody was silent, like, "Not me." We've been so heavily conditioned to equate personal responsibility with fault that we have run in the other direction from anything that could even remotely be considered our responsibility, because then it means it's our fault. And more people will do things to make sure something is not their fault than to even have what they want. It's like, I'll tell you what, one thing I know for sure is it's not my fault, not my fault. And so this blame becomes insidious because we've been conditioned that if you want to be the winner in the winner-loser situation, it better not be your fault. And lots of us, we'd like to be the winner, but more importantly, don't want to be the loser. Does any of this resonate for you?
Oh my gosh, yes, absolutely.
So we enter these very normal, regular human experiences, and we've been conditioned to say, well, if you would just see money the same way that I do, we could stop having this big problem and this bill would not have been a problem right now. You don't listen to me, right? Or if you would just do the systems and the processes and greet them the way that I told you to greet them and tell them what I told you to tell them, then we wouldn't have this woman calling us. Why is she calling us?
Oh my gosh,
you would just, right? And so we are blaming the other people around us at home and at work, because if they could just, two pieces to this. One, personal responsibility and fault don't go together. I know it sucks. We kind of wish that they would. But the truth is, just because something's not your fault doesn't mean that you don't have the responsibility to fix it and take ownership for it and handle it.
That's gold.
Yeah. And if you are the business owner, if you are in a marriage, if you are a parent, guess what? You're the leader. So it is your responsibility. Yeah, and if I were talking to the other people in your world, they would have to take 100% full responsibility, but I'm talking to you. So, and you have the mentor. So it's your responsibility to lead everybody out. So the first thing is eliminate blame from your world. When you see something happening, say, what can I do here? How can I serve? Doesn't matter if it's my fault or not. I don't care. This is my world. And so I will take responsibility for elevating it. That's what I'm going to do. That's my new standard. Remove blame. And then the other thing, and this is huge in business, you got to stop with the invisible expectations. I've never seen a team problem that wasn't an invisible expectation problem. I know it's not sexy, but systems, processes, checklists, standard operating procedures, conveying to your team what the outcome is, what success looks like, how we do things around here, what our culture is, what we stand for, what we don't. When you clearly convey that and you empower them instead of doing drive-by delegation, I hate what it is that you do. That's why I hired you to do it. So just do it. And then we're shotgunning with invisible expectations of, that's not what I wanted. And why can't I just get a better teammate? A teammate who can read my mind and do it the way I want it. No, it's actually for your benefit. Every problem that is in your life right now is actually your gift. If you would face it, own it, and solve it, you would develop to the next level of you. So there's your second tool. Face it, own it, solve it. Face it, don't deny it, own it, don't blame it, solve it. Reach for the mentor, reach for the person who's done it, and solve it. Put an SOP in place. Put a checklist there. Did you train them? Whether it's your kids or your team members, when they're doing something not the way you want it done, you have to ask yourself, did I explicitly train everybody here on how we do things?
Did I train my expectation? Is that what you're saying? Because there's a big
remove the expectation and create explicit communication.
Woo!
That's number 3. Remove the expectation, create explicit communication. And then the fourth tool is you have to have a team mentality. Every single person that you were just referring to, all those doctors who say, I have the best team, it's because of my team. I guarantee you that that doctor is showing up as a leader with a team mentality. They are not showing up as a boss. Do what I do. When I tell you to jump, ask me how high. They are not showing up like that because nobody who shows up like that has a great team. But any doctor who shows up.
That is what we see with absolutely. Right. The team reflects that the doctor is part of
100%. And if you are, that means that your job as a leader is to rise above the dynamic and serve what's best for you, what's best for them, what's best for the greater good. It doesn't mean that, okay, I'm going to be a team player, so I'm going to be your buddy. No, you're actually the leader. You have more responsibility than anyone. Show up like it. Take ownership for it. Not bossing people around, not scaring people, being a servant to yourself, to them, to the greater good. I am going to serve here. I have a higher level of resources. I have higher state mastery. I have a higher skill set. If I don't, I'm the ceiling on our business, so I better. And so I'm going to take responsibility for the vision and the tactic to set everyone up here up for success. And if you're not succeeding, maybe I haven't done a thorough enough job. I'm going to make sure that I do. And then we're going to give it a few weeks and we'll see if you really own it, want it, have capacity for it or not. Maybe it's a fit, maybe it's not. But if you haven't communicated, the reason why all these team relationships cause drama and stress and I'm up at night and firing someone is so difficult and hiring someone is so difficult is because it's not written down. There's no system or process, or the system or process was written from a dictatorship of do it the way I said, and nobody else has any say, even though you're the ones who are going to be implementing it, and maybe you should weigh in on it. It's coming from a team mentality. And at home, having a team mentality means I no longer use the words my way, and I've replaced them with the words our way.
Oh, Dr. Bruce Baird, our co-founder, The Productive Dentist, he's done multiple podcasts, and I know I hear it at every event we do, but his old way of talking was my way or the highway. And it got him very, very little distance, as he likes to say, because it had to change and it had to incorporate. Right now I've had a lot of emotional outreach to all of our doctors because even with the leadership skills and tools, because of COVID, there's been a lot of turnover. And what, it's common right now for us to see kind of two types of dentists. One that is really thriving and seems to be handling the changes, well within their capabilities. And then one that's really just surviving. And there's a tool that I've heard you talk about called the space within the moment. And I was wondering if you could share the science that's behind those that are surviving the day-to-day and what that brain is doing compared to those that are on top of the world and seem to be thriving right now.
So here's the thing. You're a great student. So the space within the moment, I was talking about triggers before, right? And how people are reacting. They're reacting to you. Well, you're also reacting. And what happens is we do things and we think like, I don't have any other choice. Like, what choice do I have? Like, I'm moving, I'm doing things like there was no other choice. We have conditioned our triggers, our reactions, our responses. The truth is, we've even conditioned the emotions we reach for, the things we say. A lot of the things we say are repetitive. You know, you've heard yourself say them before. Like, a lot of the things we're doing is actually repeating. It's a repetitive pattern. And something that I say all the time is that everyone lives in the results of the decisions that they make, and there are no exceptions. And that comes back to a decision moment. And so many times in life, we feel like, well, when I have to make a decision, I do think it through. Every second is a decision. React or respond, that was a decision. Elevate to a higher level of yourself or get triggered and go down the downward spiral. That was a decision. It may not feel like a decision because it's happening so fast for you and you've conditioned yourself to do it so many times that somebody uses that tone and you're like, rare, don't use that tone with me. We do it so fast. The key to part of mastering yourself is maximizing that space within the moment between the thing is the stimulus that's hitting you and reacting or responding. And those people who live in reaction are actually reacting out of fear and protection. So something happens, it triggers us, we react out of fear and protection. We're doing it so fast, we're not pausing in the space within the moment and shifting into a response, which is a decision for my highest good, their highest good, and the highest good of all, which is a thriving result. We're all living in the results of the decisions that we make, and that decision, if we don't recondition ourselves, happens so fast. If we start to maximize the space within the moment to create the pause, we can make a different choice, get a different result, and then we can thrive. Does that make sense?
Oh, these are those secret kind of ninja neural tricks, I think, that our business owners, it behooves them to harness. I've seen dentists right now that are working 12-hour shifts, assistants that are pushing 15-hour shifts, trying to get through, all of the demand and the new PPE requirements for the masks and the things you have to wear. And then I see the opposite happen as well. So I've seen, we're at only 50% capacity. And so now we have a different type of stress. So whether it's mental stress or it's physical stress, all of it is, and then you get to go home to your spouse. And what do you have left to give them? And they've been dealing with the children all day. So there's a failure bow and a celebration here all in one. So you have a program called, I think is it 14-Day Boost?
Yeah, 14-Day Boost for your relationship. Mm-hmm.
Okay, so this is how I met Stacey. I heard about the 14-Day Boost, signed up for it, and then of course said, I don't have time for this right now. So I'm committing to doing the 14-Day Boost. Can you tell us about the 14-Day Boost and what it's been doing for people?
Yeah, absolutely. So the 14-Day Boost is designed for you, for one person to go through the program. By the way, we don't do any couples work. Couples work doesn't work. It's highly destructive. So it's for one person, and it's in a 14-day program with just like 30 minutes a day of consuming training modules. It's me and Paul doing the training. Each day, we're giving you real tools and strategies that you can then take into that actual day and see the results of like the relief that you're feeling, the ease that you're creating, the better responses that you're getting. And then the next day is another tool. You bring that into your day. The next day is another tool. And believe it or not, in 14 days, you can create such a boost in just 14 days that it helps people to understand that, oh my gosh, okay, it really was that I was running to the end of my skill set. And relationship really is a skill set, and it can be learned. And these are real tools for regular people like me. So this is what I'm going to do. And so that's why we created the 14-Day Boost. We have an 8-week online course. We have live events. We have all kinds of other programs too. But I always recommend that people start with a 14-Day Boost, because when you get those fast results, then very quickly you get pulled into momentum. And it's so much easier to do things when we're pulled into momentum than when we're kind of efforting and pushing. That's like a kind of crappy kind of motivator. But when you're pulled into like, wow, that really worked. Hasn't worked in 10 years. This worked. Yeah, I'd like a little bit more of that. So that pulls us into momentum, and then you can transform, whether it's your marriage, your parenting, your work relationships. That's why we created the 14-day boost.
Wow. And do you have that going on right now? Can anybody sign up right now? Is it ongoing?
It happens once a month. So yes, you can go to 14dayboost.com and you can sign up for the next boost.
Woohoo! Well, that sounds very exciting. I have just two more questions for you. And one is totally outside of it. Are there any books that you're reading or any particular person that inspires you personally? How are you fueling yourself so that you can bring us these great tools?
Oh my gosh. Well, I love working with mentors. And when it comes to my business, there's two primary resources that I fuel myself with to be able to grow this mission to reach as many people as we can. One, I am a huge fan of the book Traction by Gino Wickman and the EOS system.
EOS.
Life-saving, right? It's
yes.
Life-saving. It's my sanity. So I highly recommend that, especially if you're now as a business owner realizing, oh, I need systems, I need checklists, yes, retraction. That's what that's about. And the other is for marketing and reaching the right customers and creating culture and creating team and all of that stuff. I love the Secrets trilogy from Russell Brunson, .com Secrets, Expert Secrets, and Traffic Secrets. Those three books are priceless. And everything that we do to build our message, get the message cultivated in a way that we reach the people that we want to serve the most and get out there and spread this mission. We look to that resource for that. So those are the two that I use.
Woo! All right. So I have one question that I asked all my guests, and I will do so, but I do want to know, Stacey, what's the difference between salad and garbage?
So the old joke is, what's the difference between salad and garbage? And the answer is time. Time is the difference between salad and garbage. And the reason why we teach that tool is because very often people are in what we call the passionless phase of relationship, where we're good friends, we parent together, but okay, like we're so busy, kind of the sex, the excitement, the hotness kind of fizzles. It'll come back when the kids start sleeping or they leave or whatever, but they get into that passionless phase and they don't realize that the difference between the passionless phase and the we're hanging by a thread, I really don't know how much longer I can live like this phase, is time, because passion is part of our life force, and there's only so long we can stay busy before we start questioning, can I really keep going on like this with someone that I'm not touching, that someone that we're not sharing what we can only share with each other, with someone we have no passion anymore and we're becoming great friends. And so the difference between the passionless and the hanging by the thread is also time. That's why we teach that tool.
Doctors, you don't have to live in a passionless profession or a passionless relationship.
Amen.
Appreciate it. There's never been a better time than now, because that's what we have. Well, Stacey, thank you. I'm going to part with my very last question. Say what comes to your mind, quick as you can. Don't even think, just say it. Bacon or eggs?
Bacon.
Woo! We got a bacon. Chadwick, we have a bacon. Well, thank you, Stacey, so much for your time. I've appreciated you being on with us and teaching our doctors some tools.
Oh, it's been my honor. Thank you so much for inviting me.
Bring your lunch or take us to the gym again next week to improve your everyday practices. Also, subscribe on iTunes, follow us on social media, and sign up for our email list. Now get out there and win with everyday practices.